Hello, hello everyone, and welcome to stream! I have no energy today, actually. I'm kind of dead inside. Epically. Hello everybody, hi, how you doing today? How's the energy, how's the vibe? How are we all doing? Kevin, get out of the Wing Canvas channel! How are we all doing today? Yeah, I'm EP. Give me an account. I'm EP, bro. I'm like, maybe it's to do with the fact that I almost fell asleep at 3 last night. Maybe it has to do with me going to bed, having a nightmare, and then waking up right before I had to teach a class. How do I never notice? I don't know, man. But yeah, as the stream title says today, we're going to be drawing cyborgs. Which is like, I keep on saying every time, I'm like, I am not great at drawing mechs, but I guess I'm doing that today. I put all her energy into that intro and then like, I'm dead, so yeah. Has the final corn session? Oh, I'll talk about that. I'll talk about that during the stream. But, before we get going, we have to do our little intro bit. Because, as you know, our mission at Wing Canvas is to make art education easily accessible to everyone. So join us for free live stream lessons every week, because we're not just a YouTube channel, we are an online school of illustration, helping art nerds turn their passion into income. If you're an art nerd, be sure to check the links to our Discord, where you can find our notes and artwork from streams, as well as art challenges and other resources to help you improve your art. And I also want to personally thank our incredible Patreon and YouTube members for supporting our mission. YouTube members can chat with our instructors and see video drafts before they are released. Patreon members can level up their artwork with classes, Q&A and live critiques, and personal support like draw-overs from instructors. Cool and epic. As a side note as well, no art submissions time this time because it's March 1st. So it's the first day of our new topic, which is March of Robots. So normally what would happen after that little plug is you would get to see some of the artwork from the submission section in the Discord, but I'm gonna give you an extra day to go and, you know, submit some things for the next stream. And again, the theme for this month is March of Robots, which is why we're doing a bunch of robot-themed things for this month. So, you know, anything robotic, anything mecha. Yeah, on Monday, anything mecha, anything robotic, you submit that to the Discord epically. My mic is turned down. Hang on. Does that sound a little better? I turned it up a little bit. Does that sound better? Hello. Is this sounding a little bit better? I realized that my mic was actually turned down a little bit. Is this too loud? Better? Yeah. Okay, excellent. Fantastic. Being forced to render more metal. I rendered metal today, actually. I like rendering metal. It's one of those things that I learned that I actually really enjoy painting. For no particular reason, really. I just enjoy doing it. But yeah, we're gonna be talking about drawing robots. We're gonna draw cyborgs today. Because I can. Rendering in general is just fun. It is sometimes. I'm like, some parts of the process are a little bit more boring for me. But yeah. I just hear energy, thank you. Does my intense exercise of drawing cubes do any help in drawing robots? It can. Depends what material you're studying, I suppose. Like drawing hands. Robot hands, though? Heck no. There's really no difference, personally, that I think. I'm going to be drawing D&D character. Not mine. A friend of mine's. Because a friend of mine has a character, part of Korn's campaign. Her name's Moya. Moya is in a wheelchair. She's our monk, but her wheelchair has a fun ability that lets her walk. It's like a flavored thing, and like it turns her legs into like robotic legs, and I'm like, I kind of want to draw her in bigger robotic legs, so we're gonna do that today just for fun. Because again, I have no energy today. And I'm like, I kind of want to draw something that's within, like, comfort zone. Within comfort zone is putting it lightly. Cyborgs are not within my comfort zone, but we're balancing it out with a character that I know how to draw already. Oh, and this eraser, that's not right. Yeah, no, Corrin's final session went great, for those who asked. Corrin is my D&D character, my little dragonborn barbarian. He got the final kill on the BBEG, which was pretty sick. Loved that. When your opinion is the best type of character to draw, you're gonna have to be more specific than that. I like just drawing people. I think that it's fun. I love monsters. I'm a big fan of, like, stuff that kind of pushes anatomy a little bit. I think I am... I like it when somebody gives me a body type that is not one that you see, like, every ideal person having. Like, every, like, beautiful, ideal body type. I'm like... I like drawing... I think my favorite body type to draw is the strongman body type. Which is, like, one that is not given to me very often, and it makes me very sad. It's because there's a difference between a bodybuilder and a strongman. A bodybuilder is, like, the, like, muscular, like, super toned and defined kind of, like, body, you know, which realistically, when muscles are, like, this toned, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're strong. It could just mean that, realistically, it's like a bodybuilder type of thing. Actual strongmen are actually quite large. They're a bit chunkier, right? So you'd get something that's a little bit more on the like fatty side. And it's like, this body type is what I like to see. I want meat on the bones. I'm like, I want more, like, I want the love handles to be visible. I want to be able to, like, see rolls. Like, I'm like, this stuff is so fun to me. I'm like, that kind of, like, chunky but muscular sort of body type is my favorite thing ever. What's the creepiest album you ever heard from me? Is Everywhere at the End of Time. That's everybody's choice. Everybody's choice is that one. Off of that album, everybody also always picks the first song because that's the one that everybody knows. By the same artist, I think my personal favorite is Le Bet's Delay, which is like off of a different album, but it's my personal favorite of his music. Really struggle with line art. Maybe I do not refine sketch, but painterly figures are, like, quite my jam. I am such, like, I love line art. I'm a super big line art person. The Best Delay, yeah. I could be pronouncing it wrong. Super sorry if I am. But, yeah. I'm like, that one's my personal favorite. A robotic thing that I've seen a lot recently is people who, like, give these really, really big honkin' legs to people. It's like really disproportionate, but it makes this, like, really cool silhouette that I like. And I'm like, that's what I want to draw today. I'm like, I am aiming to have fun today. In terms of, like, the drawing part, I am aiming to have fun today. I'm not really thinking about... You know, I'm not really thinking about doing something super challenging, but I am going to walk you through my process when we get to the robotic part, because we haven't gotten there yet. And you get better at anatomy hands. I want to improve my character's eyes. Eyes are easy. If you think about eyes, it's not just eyes are not just a sticker on top of the face. It is an eyeball. It's a sphere. You can think of it as like a piranha plant mouth that wraps around the sphere for the lids. And that kind of gives you a good idea of where stuff is supposed to go. So if you've got a person and they're facing at a 3/4 angle, you think about where those spheres on the body are going to go. And then you attach the piranha plant lids, finding the center of the eye. you'll be able to place the eyes a lot better. And again, it works with, like, multiple styles. Like, it is not just, like a realistic thing. Like, with this one, right, it's like if I were to draw in the eyeball, the piranha plant lips are, like, wrapping around like that, right? It just tells you what direction and how much of the eye you're gonna see, because, again, they're inset on the head. They're not, like, they're just stickers sitting on top of it. So, you gotta think of it that way. How often do I make new characters? See, here's the thing. I'm more of, like, the quote-unquote traditional writer, where it's like, I create characters on a need-to-have basis. I don't create them because I'm like, yeah, I just want to make a new character today. I'm like, I create them if the story that I'm writing allows for them. So actually, I don't make new characters very often. It's very, very rare when I will make, like, a new character. The most recent one that I've had to make is a, like, side character for a comic. Their name is Jade. They're like a royal guard, like, monk warrior. That was really fun. Their design is based off of a shark. They're underwater, so that was pretty cool. But it, like, again, it's very, like, a need to have basis. I don't really create characters for the sake of creating characters. First IRL D&D campaign seemed fun. Plays a small middle-aged grumpy dwarf named Lemon. What's your class? Guard based on a shark is pretty cool. Don't want to get in the habit of writing more. Yeah, it's for a comic that I'm working on, so I'm like, they're gonna be, because they're gonna be like a what do you call it? They're meant to look a lot sleeker, so it's gonna be like a sea elf type deal. Nova, I'm gonna be super honest. That, like, just that is not really enough for, like, a full, like, video or stream. Elephants and, like, rhinos and stuff like that, if you really want to think about it, they're in the same realm as most mammals. You'll get the answers that you're looking for in those kind of, like, mammal videos that we've done in the previous videos, because they have, like, that same sort of, like, mammalian anatomy. But yeah, really, there really isn't much to teach. Like, if I'm being super honest, it's like when people ask for, like, specific animals, I am like, I will be super real. There is not enough that I can teach where I'm like, this is going to be interesting enough for, like, a full thing. Torn between wizard or warlock. Is this your first D&D campaign ever? Or is this just your first one IRL? Do I have any characters with prosthetics? I actually don't. I'm like, I really think I should have one, but, like, no, not really. Yeah, Moya's not my character. She's one of the other players' characters. But no, surprisingly, I don't. Which is, like, I'll probably have to change that. Like, I'll have to change that. That's no good. First one IRL. Played online on and off for 4 years. Okay, cool. I was gonna be like, ain't no way you're picking wizard or warlock for your first class, right? Those are hard ones. Like for part 3 of Animal Anatomy, I meant. Oh, I have no clue. I don't know are we planning on doing a part 3? Kevin, Jode, either, you know? I don't think so. Like, I'm pretty sure we just have, like, it's our part 1 and part 2. Because they're based on, like, comments and whatever. I suppose if the demand is high enough, then we might make another one. But as it stands right now, I don't believe we have one in the works. When I make a skeleton warlock, there's no dragon subclass. I chose for him to be a sorcerer. Never played D&D, but I'll be DM first time around. Ooh. Not at the moment. Yeah. Makes sense. Can half-elves be assassins or sorcerers? Yeah, of course. You can literally play whatever you want. I am like, again, I'm playing Dragonborn Barbarian. One of my other characters is a Warforged, which is like a robot, a bard, and a barbarian. Not a barbarian. She has 2 character sheets. And then I'm gonna be playing a Tiefling Warlock soon. Or sorry, not Tiefling Warlock, my bad. Tiefling Cleric. I'm gonna be playing a Tiefling Cleric soon. So it's like, really, it doesn't really matter. Like, you can, it's like, the species is completely separate from the class. Like, you can play any species, you can play any class. And, like, some people will say, like, oh, it's best to play this for this class because of, like, builds and whatever. Who cares? Do whatever the heck you want. Okay, we're getting into the... We're getting into the... What do you call it? Cyborgy part of this. The thing to think about when it comes to robots, just in general, is they look best when you keep anatomy in mind. Anatomy isn't necessarily, like, when you say, like, anatomy, most people think, like, oh, human anatomy, you know. Anatomy, the actual meaning of anatomy is just how things work. How things work, how things function. So, like, keeping up with the idea of anatomy as a whole, not just as a, like, anatomical thing, but keeping up with the idea and kind of keeping it grounded in the way of, like, oh, this would work this way, or this would work that way, just based on, like, joints and, like, functionality and stuff like that, makes for a better robot design. Because if you are keeping up with more realistic anatomy, then you will have a better robotic design. Because then you will have something that's a little bit more grounded in this reality that you're hoping to create, right? So, like, that's why, like, doll artists are really good with, like, prosthetics and things like that. It's like, you just want to make sure that you are keeping up with the concept of, like, anatomy. Like, you are trying to make sure that everything that you are designing has function, right? And in this case, these are legs, so I'm thinking of them with, like, leg functionality in mind, right? They're not just this for the sake of this. They are, like, there is function, there is, like, movement behind each joint, you know, that kind of thing. Bards, you can only be human half-elf to play them? What are you talking about? You can be literally anything. Did your DM say that you can only be a specific species with a specific class? That sucks. That sucks. I'm sorry. Oh man, I'm being too loud. No, like, genuinely, like, you can, like, with baseline D&D, there are no limits. Like, you can play as, like, any class, any species. I'm, like, wondering if humans were bad to play because I wanted to make a strong wizard or magic user that was also used an anchor as a weapon. Then play as a human. And one of my warlocks is, like, a pure human. Who cares, dude? Play whatever you want. Builds are possible with, like, anything. You have any tips for eldritch monster creation? Get weird and don't stop getting weird. Like, if you are creating something that is meant to be eldritch, try not to keep it too Lovecraftian. Like, every person who makes, like, something eldritch, it's always, like, the same kind of, like, tentacles with, like, the big looming figure and whatever and stuff like that. Get weird. Get weirder than that. It's like, open your mind to more things, get more familiar with anatomy. You get a little bit, like, weird when it comes to, like, picking what it is that you're hoping to do, you know? It's eldritch. It's supposed to be strange and uncanny and, like, hard to process. So don't create something that's too within the realms of reality. It could be as simple as, like, this hand. They have a hand. They've got 7 fingers. Each one with 4 joints. You know? Get weird. Get strange with it, you know? We don't want the same kind of, like, feeling over and over, you know? Don't mind me, like, really struggling with this. My mind's eye is not working today for some reason. It's like, you can really do some fun stuff. I've gone the goat route, which I know isn't too original, but I thought it was better than Cthulhu. That's fair. I always say, like, I'm like, think of something new, think of something original. I love the goat symbolism so much. I'm like, it's like a favorite visual motif of mine. Like, for no particular reason, I just think it's fun. Like, I also like the tentacle, like, Cthulhu type beat. There's nothing wrong with that either. Again, I enjoy it. I'm just like, you can do more. Like, there is more options. Anchors are your favorite weapon? Like a ship anchor? An anchor? This is a ship anchor. I have no clue what you're talking about other than that. Yes. Interesting. I didn't... Is that a D&D weapon? I mean, I guess it could just be like whatever, right? Well, it's not on here. I guess it's homebrew. No, but I will make one. Okay. Smush a bunch of things together and do wacky things? Not necessarily, because you can't just smush it at random. You also have to be smart with the design. Don't just bash together because you can. Find ways to relate them. Find ways to be like, okay, this can be put here because blah blah blah. This can be put here because blah 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 blah. Right? It's like, think of ways to combine the two. It's like the one stream that I did about snow. You know? Like, I did, like, designs on the spot, and it was, like... What do you call it? What do you call it? Designing on the spot, and it was like, okay, well, I am going to... Well, it's like, what are the two things that, like, kind of meld together with snow? Is like, oh, well, no two snowflakes look the same. What two things also don't really look similar when you put them together? That's right, DNA. So I'm like, okay, what if snow is just like a very fast-growing DNA that comes from, like, the sky, right? And that's what makes the Arctic so dangerous, is not that it's cold, it's because this is like a fast-growing DNA and it's hostile, you know? Like, you have to think of it intelligently. Design is not just things that look cool. Design is intelligence. It is coming up with things that work together and, like, designs that feel interesting at the same time, right? That's why mechs are so hard and why I'm struggling so hard right now, because I have to talk at the same time as working on this, so I can't put in my full brain power into, you know, trying to make this look good. You see, get weird. No, let's go. Thought about the weirdest thing that kind of within spots. Gargoyle with those weird bat noses and human hands. It's also tiny. That sounds like my goblin that I played as. Bat noses are a really common visual trope. And I mean, it makes sense. They look good. Cthulhu is Lovecraftian Eldritch, yeah. A homebrew anchor mace I know about? That's interesting. My weapon for Khorne is all homebrew. It's completely homebrew, made by my DM. I love that thing so much. It's the coolest weapon ever. I will literally be so sad when I'm no longer playing as Khorne and I can't use it anymore. I'm like, this weapon is so strong. See, I don't like this. I'm like, this is why I don't draw mechs. Hang on. We're gonna do a smaller version of this off to the side, just so I can, like, try this out. Like, if I'm, like... Didn't you already have your last campaign? We did have the last session. We have epilogues. So we are playing a few extra sessions afterwards that are, like, past the main story. So right now we're doing an epilogue where we hunt down somebody from Pierce's past, and that's fun. We just got sucked into a black hole. So that was kind of crazy. Especially Switch Axe. You're a Monster Hunter player. I only know what a Switch Axe is because I watched my friend play Monster Hunter yesterday. That's the thing about Monster Hunter designs. Monster Hunter has really good intelligent design. I'm like, I was talking about it with my friends yesterday. I'm like, the thing that I appreciate about Monster Hunter is that their designs are very, 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 very intelligent. And it's like... because the monsters are very, like, not only are they interesting looking, but they create, like, a good, what do you call it? Oh my god. They have a good, like, grounding in reality, but also have a good amount of fantasy added in to keep it, like, interesting. And it, like, with Monster Hunter specifically, they have a really cool way of having their monsters have different, like, ways of hunting. And they use, like, these, like, fantastical ideas that are still rooted in reality, and it creates, like, a nice, like, fantasy anatomy kind of aesthetic, which I really, really enjoy. Yeah, it's believable, which is really, really cool. Do I use a line stabilizer? Sometimes. I don't use it. I'm not using it right now because it's just, it slows me down. But yeah, it is a function on your computer. You should use it. I think you should learn to work without it too, but like, if it is a thing that is on the PC, then it is an option and you should use it. Why am I struggling so hard today? I love watching fake documentaries of video game creators. Yeah, that's fun. Made a sword and dagger dude. That's called the Minute and the Hour. Oh my god, my friend who's a DM, they made swords for... They made, like, weapons for 2 of the characters that were, like, their whole theme was on time. They had... I think they also had the Minute and the Hour, but there was one of them was a great sword and the other one was a short sword. And they were the hands of time, like they were actual clock hands, and that's what made the sword. And then the combined version of them was the moment. It's something like that. I think that's what it was. I'm actually really bad at... What do you call it? I'm actually really bad at weapon design. I find that I'm not really good at it. I need to practice. Why am I'm tweaking. Why am I, like, struggling so hard? Hang on. I'm looking up inspiration. Yeah, mine's very similar. Yeah. Oh my god. This is what exhaustion does to you, man. And especially with, like, mechs. Anything cyborg, it's not my forte. So I'm like, I'm struggling, dog. Transformers designs, they help. See, Transformers are not really the vibe I'm going for right now, though. This is why I have a giant folder of inspiration on my phone for explicit moments like these. Got this, thank you. What am I drawing? We're trying to do cyborg stuff. I'm struggling, but it's okay. We'll figure it out. Wait, your name is Jessie? You just said you're my biggest fan and you don't even know my name, dog? Art block is real. It's not even art block, dude. I'm like, I have an idea. I just can't work with it right now for some reasons. I'm like, let's see if we can find something else that maybe feels better. I mean, I could do something like sleeker. Like I could like instead of being like, oh, it's like I've got to do this one thing, I'm like, I could like Man, people are cool. Okay. You just do an anime stream for 2 EP? No, I gotta lock in. Okay. I think I've got it. Sometimes all I need is just to look at something and I can come up with it. And suddenly it's magic. If you don't teach, you don't get paid. It's true, though. That feels better. You see, it just takes a second for me to like go and find something that I think feels good. Or something that like can help with the inspiration a bit. You know, it's again, it is all, I wanted to like digitigrade because I think that that's fun, but like the robots are like all anatomy, like it is all anatomical. You know? Yeah, that feels a lot nicer. It's gonna be like so much work and maintenance. Oh yeah. Be cool though. of these flavor legs. Thank you. She normally does. Obviously, this character does not have these legs. Like, this is not. She's not mine. This is Moya. She's our party's monk. She's just a human. Normally in campaign, she would be in a wheelchair. But her wheelchair can morph into, like... She has legs. Like, she actually has legs. In campaign, her wheelchair morphs into, like, a thing that allows her... what do you call it? Allows her to walk. They, like, wrap around her legs, and they become just kind of like a... like, assists, in a way. Hang on. I actually want that other pose I was planning on. So that would mean that this leg... Yeah. I mean, I could just... I take this. Rotate it a little bit. You can do. Thanks. I'm doing my best. Why is she in a wheelchair? A wheelchair? Because she is. She partially organic or full cyborg? Like, canon her or just this? Because cyborg means that you're partially organic. A cyborg means that you are part, like, organic, part robot. Yeah, so there's a human, there's a cyborg, and a robot. And a cyborg is a mix of a human and a robot. So there, you know. Maybe you need a refreshing beverage right now that helps me. You're so right. Drink water, everybody. Maybe I'll get Starbucks after this, who knows. Human, a cyborg, a robot, a snail. A snail. So true. Better than I could draw. I'm better at drawing wolves and dogs. I like drawing animals. I think that, like, it's just fun. The difference in anatomy is really interesting. And I'm like, I think it's... You know, it's interesting to learn things like that. Also to see the similarities and differences between the two is really important. Because learning people helps you learn animals too. Love that for you. You deserve it. Thank you. I haven't drank water all day. How dare you? Go drink water right now. Cyborg's gonna use IRL, right? Like, this is people with mechanical arms or legs from losing limbs. Yeah. Some people have more advanced prosthetics, too, where you can, like, properly move. Like, it's not just, like, oh, it's like a placeholder. Like, they are, like, connected to nerves and things, and you can properly, like, move stuff, which is pretty sick. The hard thing is that you also have to kind of remember what goes where. It's like what will have gaps so that legs can kind of bend properly. So these are kind of like what the legs look like from this side. This should be shorter, actually. This should be like this. Like this. Realistically, it actually should be wider toe. Like that, maybe. Bird. I'm drinking coffee which is made with water, so I got those. No. Aren't cyborgs supposed to be lethal though? Not necessarily. You could have a perfectly calm cyborg. What are you thinking of? So the previous try is me drawing along with you. I stayed with the older design. It's giving a really, really sharp silhouette. Love to see it. Once made a robot cockroach or a creature challenge. His legs are so hard to keep track of in different poses, like what gears go where. That's freaky. I like that. Feels like she could outrun a passenger train. Frankly, Canon Moya could probably outrun a train, because she is our fastest party member. Again, a monk, so it's like she is super fast, and like she's super fast and has a super high perception. She's like our utility character. She had so much utility. It's just, yeah. Imagine a kick from that, yeah. Ow. Yeah, like Canon Boy has a monk, so she's like, even her current kicks, like, ow. You know? That was a sketch, yeah. You thought those were my lines? No, that's that's so rough. I love me a good chisel brush. Go crazy in the NBA. That's nuts. I think it's important to have a little bit of mess in your line art. It just keeps the human element in there. Can't draw unless I make a sketch first. I've seen some artists go straight to ink. I can go straight to ink. Like, I am not, it's not impossible for me. I'm like, I find that I can just go straight to just like lines, but it is a lot slower of a process. And especially like with stuff like this where it is like completely out of my comfort zone, I would not be comfortable going straight to lines anyway. Like, I would need to have a bit of lines going on first. You like drawing anime? I mean, depends. I learned I'm not really much of a fan art person anymore, which is crazy. I, like, new stuff for the new Pokemon game has come out, and I was like, I should probably draw something for that, because I really like Pokemon. And I was, like, thinking about what to draw, and I'm like, I don't really want to do any of this. I'm like, I kind of don't. I drew a really quick Chikorita, and that's about it. And I posted it, and I was like, well, we'll call that there. But I might draw AZ, because I'm like, he looks like he'd be just fun to draw. But I've learned that I'm not really great with fan art. It's just not my thing. Should we Rain World Leviathan based on the sea creature 2-page spread in your sketchbook tour? Oh, that's ancient! Oh my god. I haven't thought about that sketchbook in a while. Oof, not my university sketchbook. That thing was rough. I appreciate you being inspired by it though. I'm like, forgot about that thing. Used to be all about drawing fan art, yeah. Straight to line something outside your comfort zone just means you're probably going to be erasing more. It would make sense. Do a quick first pass anyways. Yeah. Thank you. You know, should create you to draw every day or I die. Today, you will draw... Today you will draw the Dumbo octopus. Yes. The sheep's head fish. Ew. Understood, yes. Dumbo octopus. We love a good Dumbo octopus in this house. How long do you take to draw? Well, it's been an hour, so... Don't box is so trendy. Really is, yeah. Make OCs. I want to know if their first OCs were based on something end of what. No. My first OC ever. I made her in first grade. Her name was Lokid McGrief. She was an adventurer a la Indiana Jones. You know, that kind of vibe. Right? But she was her own thing. And she... Oh, man. This was my first ever, like, story that I wrote. Oh, hang on. She was like... Oh, man. Yeah, her name was Lokid McGrief, by the way. It's spelled L-O-K-E-D. McGrief. And her... She has official ID. No, she was like... Her family was like running from monsters and they had to get away fast, so they left her in the desert. In the desert of monsters. It was crazy. I wrote it... I wrote it when I was... like 7. And... like... She... Holy crap. I wrote it... the story said that she was left there 30 years ago, and now in present day she's 7 years old, which, you know, amazing math on my part. And, like, she had, like, the early 2000s, you know, you ever see, like, she had, like, the early 2000s kind of, like, hat like that, and you know that it's, like, plaid. And she had, like, the wavy hair like this, and, like, she had, like, hoop earrings. It's so 2000. Like, it's so, like... it's crazy. It's so, like, whoa, you know? Anyway, she found a magical horse named Crystal, and the story was that she went to go and explore a deep, dark cave with her, and there were, like, monsters in there, and she had to, like... Yeah, it's like a page boy hat. Yeah. And she had to, like, go and, like, explore the cave and stuff like that. So that was my very first character ever. As, you know, 7-year-old Jess, really genius beyond her time. Truly beyond everything. The very first comics that I ever made, though, they were fan comics. I really loved Yoshi when I was a kid, so I made a lot of, like, Yoshi fan comics about, like, Yoshi's Island. It was, like, a whole thing. Like, I was in 3rd grade, so I wanted to make them darker and crazier. So I gave Yoshi a sword, and he went around. You know, I was friends with guys. I only had friends that were guys when I was that age. It was very little 8-year-old boy coded. Like, looking back on it. And then everything changed in 2009 when I got my very first Kirby game. And it went from Yoshi to edgy Kirby nonsense. But, you know, that was kind of just how it was. What art books, if any, helped you a lot with art fundamentals? None, really. I went to uni, I went to college, and I studied there. Art fundamentals, I kind of got, like, most of my things from school. I know that a book that a lot of people really like is Morpho, in terms of, like, anatomy and stuff, but, like, color theory and whatever, it was all, like, university and whatnot. You know, Kirby X Yoshi just got no... It's not happening again. That's crazy talk. We're not doing that. Do I animate? No. I'm not an animator. My best friend's an animator. I can animate in theory. I know the principles. I know what you're supposed to do. I'm not an animator. I don't have that patience. I respect animators so much. I ain't about that life. Closest I get to animation is comic work. Just saw you. Hope you're doing well. I am really tired. I'm losing my mind. Look at Moya. Look at Moya. I gave her big robot leg. I love animated when it's like Minecraft for me, obsessed for 2 weeks and forget about it for 3 months. That's real. I am a comic artist at heart. Like, I am like, I draw comics all the time. They're like my favorite thing ever. Like, I'm sure you could tell by the lining style. It's very comic-y, the way that I like to line stuff. So they bring Gartic phone games between these structures? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. We should have those VODs still. Like, if you find the anniversary streams, there should be those. I wasn't part of the anniversary this year. I was dying. But last year, I'm pretty sure we played Gartic, if I remember correctly. Thought that was her. I wasn't sure she's missing tooth gap. Thank you for reminding me. I forget all the time, bro. There's always an element or two that I forget of things. I don't really like how that looks. I think, actually, just based on the angle, we would be able to... Yeah. Yeah, that looks better. It would be like that instead. Yeah, she has a tooth gap. I totally forgot. I'm like, it's a thing with everyone else's characters. Does not matter how long I've been drawing them. There will always be something that I tend to forget. It doesn't matter who it is. I will draw this character for ages, and then something of theirs I will always forget to draw. Doesn't matter what it is. Like, it doesn't matter who the character is. It doesn't matter how long I've been drawing them before. Unless they are mine, I will always forget something. Some kind of element on there. With Moya, it's her tooth gap. Like, Pierce, I forget the scales on his face a lot more than, like, other things nowadays. Like, I remember the twig really well, but I do forget the scales on his face. Scribbles, I forget his whiskers. Moya, I forget her tooth gap. Aether, sometimes I forget his, like, his facial eyes, or, like, he has extra eyes on his face, or, like, like, something between his horns. It's, like, I will forget something. Like, something will be forgotten somehow. Looks so good so far, thank you. Oh yeah, Shish, that's really popular. I've done that before. I had an idea for one of... No, I did one of those. I did one of those ages ago for a comic class. The premise was that it was a post-apocalyptic world filled with nothing but giant sentient mice, and there's, like, one human left. And, like, it was just a whole comic that was just this little boy trying to get to this, like, building to safety. Yeah, no words. Those comics are fun. It is difficult because it is a show don't tell way of working. You need to be really good at action to do one of those. But yeah. Tips to practice line weight. Get better with controlling your wrist. It's like, it is a lot of wrist control and knowing where to press as well, in which then you just need to get better at your lighting fundamentals and things like that. Stuff with color. But yeah, try to practice your wrist control, in which then there are, like, the really basic exercises like start light, press harder, know when to press. Get more familiar with your program, get more familiar with the pens that you're using. All in all, though, it's practice. It is genuinely practice. Line art has been, like, my favorite thing for, like, ever. How do you combat the bucket tool not filling in all the pixels? There's still a bunch of white pixels. Still, what program do you use? Depends on the program. I have to trust other people in my story because voice actors are very necessary for it. Yeah. Clip Studio Paint. Easy. On Clip Studio, on your paint bucket, there will be a thing in your tools. It'll... Gosh. There'll be a couple of things. There'll be, like, pixel allowance. There'll be stuff like that. You gotta turn up that number. You gotta change that number so that you get rid of the white pixels. It's like, I don't know it off the top of my head. There is a setting, though. There's a setting that straight up gets rid of them. Like, it's like an expanding thing on there somewhere. Like, I know you can change it. I don't know exactly where, though. Close gap and or tolerance, that's it, yeah. You have a comic, so there's a place I can read said comic. I am working on a comic that is going to be posted eventually. It's in the works right now. I can show you a page, and you can see how much I love line work, but it's very still in the works. It is a comic with corn, but it's... Yeah. I'm very, like... I love line art, dude. I'm such a line art person. I am, like... I love lining. Lines are just so fun, dude. They're, like... These are not finished, obviously, but I'm, like... Still working on it. But I love drawing action. I love lining. I don't know. I was, like... Every time I finished one of those pages, like, the lines, I'm like... Yo, I'm tweaking. This stuff is so good. I'm like, looks so good, bro. Holy. Ugh. Anyway. I should have warned about spiders. I'm sorry. It's okay. See, they're awesome. Yeah, he's a dragon. Dragonborn. Which I'll have to change the name of that, because that's D&D. I mean, I have already changed it. I've already gotten things, like, planned out and whatever, but... Horror comic by Beloved. I'm so excited. I'm so hyped. It's gonna be so good. Yeah, you notice how I haven't been using my smooth tool. I've been using no, like, line stabilizer. And that is just because I want to move faster right now. Like, if I am not trying to be really, really careful, then I will not use my line stabilizer. Just because it slows... ultimately, it slows me down. But sometimes slow is what you have to do if you're, like, trying to... get a certain look. In this case, though, I am not. I'm just trying to move fast. And there's nothing that really requires me to slow down, so I'm like, yep, not using that today because I don't need it. Look like Cybertrucks, though. Ew. Why would you want to draw a Cybertruck? Reminds me of the Bone comics. Ugh! Ah! I love that compliment. It's the second time I've gotten that one. That's like one of my favorite compliments ever. Because I don't talk about how I have every single Bone comic on my shelf. Like, ever. Like, I grew up with Bone, dude. That's so, like, ugh. Yeah, I've gotten that compliment twice. The first one, it was like a student. They're like, your comic work really reminds me of Bone. I was like, Jeff Smith's Bone? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, I will eat my desk. The Bone comics are so good, dude. Ugh. I can't believe Atros got that 22 on a strength deck. It'll never happen again. Hey, man. If you roll that 20, it will. Just read them at the library. Yeah. No, I grew up with them. I have like I have the whole Bone collection. It's so good. I have Bone the original comics, and then I have Bone the like novel that came out later. Like post the main like series. Like I love Bone. That if you have not read Bone, it's an older comic series. It's really dang good. I highly recommend it. Yeah, no, super, super good. And, like, when you read it, you can kind of tell that I was inspired by Bone. Like Bone was, like, my everything growing up. I was super into it. Love that series. Because I was such a reader, too, growing up. Like, I loved reading. I still do, obviously. But, like, especially back then, I was such a reader. And it was, like, Bone was really, really up there as one of the things that, like, yeah. This is gonna, like, alter your life forever. Haven't heard of Bone in years. I remember some classmates reading it. You should read it. It's really, really good. The story is really awesome. The design is really fun. I love the world building. It is a really, really good series. Like, if you listen to nothing else that I recommend, that's the one you listen to. Like, you go and read Bone. Really into Percy Jackson is good. Me too. Yeah. Love libraries, hate not having a complete series. That's when you buy the book yourself. I think of libraries as like the demo. Like, it's like your trial period. Like, if they don't have the whole series, you can try out the first couple of books or something. And if they don't have the rest, then you go and buy the rest. Like, libraries are like a trial period. Percy Jackson's super good. I highly recommend it. That's another one I was really into as a kid. I love Percy Jackson. You should read it. It's an experience. Oh, it's 4? Okay, that's not bad. I never finished Bone. I could never get my hands on the series chronologically at the library. Joe, you can borrow them if you want. Just ask me. Come by. I'll hand them over to you if you want to read them. I have the entire series. Like, I have literally the entire series, and like every like spin-off that he wrote, I have all of them. Like, I literally have all of them. If you want to read them, let me know. Ever played Hollow Knight? Yeah. It was too hard. I couldn't finish it. I was too bad at it. Be awesome. Yeah, man. Just let me know. I will gladly lend them to you. I need them back, though. They're some of my prized possessions. There was a comic that I read so much as a child. I have no clue why. I was obsessed with it. It was called Jellaby. And it was illustrated entirely in purple. I think I liked it because it took place in Toronto. So it was like some of the like areas that they drew I recognized, and I thought that was fun. But No, like I don't know why. I was really obsessed with it. I never bought the books. I only ever read it at the library. But I was really into it, and I really liked it. I should reread it. I should find that book and reread it, because I remember liking the art when I was younger. Have you read a manga? I have a bunch of manga. I love manga. My brother really liked the Splatoon manga. I can't say my favorite manga of all time. Because realistically, I shouldn't be sharing that. What my favorite manga of all time is, because it's not chill. It's a phenomenal manga. Most of the people in here I don't think can read it. So I'm like, I'm not going to share what my favorite manga is. But my second favorite manga of all time is Full Metal. Because I read Full Metal. I loved that. Finished it in a weekend. Favorite character is Pride, easily. Loved Full Metal. I read a good chunk of Spy Family for a while. It's not Berserk. What else did I read? I read a good chunk of Attack on Titan. Don't kill me. But then I got bored and I put it down. What else? I read the Pokemon manga for a really long time. I kept up with that really religiously. Same thing with My Hero. I kept up with My Hero for a while. Didn't really enjoy it, so I put it down. I'm trying to remember what else I read. It's been a long, long time. One Punch Man. I read a lot of One Punch Man. I didn't put it down because I, didn't like it. I just put it down because I kind of just kept on forgetting to keep up with it. But I liked One Punch Man a lot as well. Because Yusuke Murata is a phenomenal artist. The Full Metal Alchemist manga set after watching FMA 3 and FMA Brotherhood. Yeah, that's real. Full Metal's really, really good. I've heard Animal Well is good, yeah. So you might have noticed it while I'm working. The lining style that I tend to lean towards, which is super, super comic-y, is letting the line work do a lot of the talking. When you are, an artist, usually you have a part of the process that, quote-unquote, does a lot of the talking. And that's the part of the process that has, what do you call it? It's the part of the process that has the most, going on with it. Or, is the most, prevalent and handles the majority of the work, quote-unquote, right? In this case, for me, it is line art. My line art handles not only the accentuation of, the forms, but it also handles some of the shading. It also handles, what do you call it? Anyway, it handles a lot. Line art is, the most prevalent part of this kind of way of working. Because you notice me, coloring in things with my lines. And, actually, actively, shading in things as I go. And that is just the way that I work, personally. Because I enjoy that. And it's very, very comic-y. Comic artists will have very, very prevalent line work, and will work in that way, right? Where they, quote-unquote, let the line work do the talking, right? It's a lot of, shading and a lot of, texture and a lot of things like that being pulled out with the lines rather than the color. The color's gonna be very, very minimal by comparison to the actual lines themselves. So this way of working is just a very me thing. It's not necessarily a thing you have to do, but that's sort of just the way that I like to work. Witch Hat Atelier. I need to read Witch Hat Atelier. That art style is delicious. I'm like, every time I see panels from Witch Hat Atelier, I'm like, I need to read this. This manga is beautiful looking. And I'm like, I need to read this because it looks really, really good. Focus a lot on color. You exclusively work with color. That is beautiful. Thank you. Yeah, the art is beautiful. I'm like, I need to read this manga. It looks really dang good. So I'm like, every once in a while I remember, and then I forget again. And then somebody needs to remind me. But, you know, it is what it is. I don't always have time to read. So this little etching that I'm doing, this is a way to kind of show that something is shiny. It kind of gives it a little bit of an extra edge before I get to the coloring part. Again, a personal thing that I do. I've seen other people do it. It just makes it look nicer in my opinion. But that is a personal choice. Not something you have to do. What manga? Witch Hat Atelier? Do I lay down base colors? Yeah, I do. I have like a flats layer before I do anything, but it all ends up being kind of on the same layer, regardless. This looks so cool. Yippee! Oh, shoot. Oh. Hang on. This should be here. There we go. Your line art is not necessarily only there as a cleanup. Your line art is there as a fix. You are there to fix the anatomy and fix the placement of things as much as cleaning up the piece as a whole, right? So you want to make sure that you are not only cleaning up your piece, but you are also making sure that everything is correct now. So sometimes you'll draw in things in your sketch and you're like, oh shoot, that's wrong. So you're gonna have to fix it. You're gonna have to change it. And like, that's okay. That's what your line art is there for. It's there to fix your stuff. It's not... You're not really meant to get it all right on your sketch, so you use your line art to fix it. That's what a cleanup artist is for. They're meant to clean stuff up, make stuff look better. Moya is actually spelled M-O-L-L-A. That's crazy, Joe. That was like a whole arc of her story. It was a thing where she was like, Moya was battling with self-worth for a really long time because she always saw herself as like somebody who gets left behind or somebody who isn't wanted. And it was like, not even romantically, just like with everything. But the romantic part of that was also true. Now she and the other player's characters are dating. She and Quinn are dating, which is cute. Her name is Spanish? I don't know. Her player's Spanish, so maybe. I mean, Spain doesn't exist in the world that we're playing in, but... This is Italian, actually. Hi, Cryo! There they are! That's Moya's player! Point! Point at them! Cryo in chat, that's Moya's player. Everybody point at them. Cryo, look, I'm giving Moya weird legs. I mean, Spring, I didn't know that. Or maybe I did and I completely forgot. I was told to come here, now I see why. Yeah, I gave Moya funky legs. I was feeling like it. I'm like, you know what? I gotta draw Cyborg today. Might as well, you know? Let's have some fun with some funky legs. Love the weird legs. Excellent. Excellent. They kind of give ostrich. I'm digging that, though. Moya appreciation. Moya appreciation! Yes, indeed. And then here it would be like that. Might at lunch. Enjoy the lesson. Epic. Have a good lunch. Everyone say bye, Cryo. Miss Cryo already. Do you teach how to draw like that? Looks very cool. I'm new here. Not specifically this. I kind of just teach how to enhance the way that you draw. If you so happen to just want to pick up on my techniques, that's up to you, but I'd much rather nurture what you already got. Thank you. I like lines. A little bit of mess within your artwork always makes stuff look better. It keeps it looking a little organic, which I think is important. Especially in this day and age. A little bit of humanness never hurt anybody, I don't think. I was talking to this with my students the other day. Like, I think... Like, I always found it obvious when you're working with line art versus sketch. Make sure you turn off your sketch layer every once in a while, so then you can actually see the quality of your lines. Because if you never turn it off, you're going to turn it off and then you're going to be like, man, I hate this. So make sure that you're turning off your sketch every once in a while so you can test the quality of your line work. Well, like, how it stands on its own, you know? Like, you never want to be super far into a piece and you're like, alright, I'm done. Turn off the sketch layer and it sucks. You know, so make sure that you're turning off your sketch layer too. So that you can see, like, what it looks like without it. We're gonna get into coloring probably anyway, so... Well, actually, will we? Maybe we won't. So lots of practice. Setting up to do art fight for the first time, making finalized science characters. Art fight! Art fight! Every time that art fight comes around, people are like, Jesse, you do an art fight? And I'm like, oh shoot, that's soon. And I completely forget. And then I end up not doing art fight because I don't have time. Because June is usually a busy season for me. So I'm like, whoops, can't do that, sorry. Yeah, flipping the canvas is also really, really important. It's good to flip just to like check your quality on both sides. I remember once a university prof told me that. He was like, you probably know this, right? You're supposed to flip your canvas. I'm like, I do it all the time, sir. And he's like, I thought so. He wasn't much of a digital artist. And I'm like, so like a lot of like crit, what I would do when I would like help with the crit, I would be like a lot of me saying stuff. And he's like, so Jess, when are you gonna teach this class? And I'm like, I don't know, sir. Yeah, he was a great prof though. I liked him. He was fun. He was really nice. You never flip the canvas. I guess I'm crazy then. You should. You should really flip the canvas. Flipping the canvas really helps point out mistakes that you would not be able to see. It essentially resets your brain. And it makes it so it's easier for you to, like, point out your mistakes. Because sometimes there are discrepancies from one thing to the next, right? So, it helps a lot. It's one of those things, it's essentially like a quality control check. Or it's like a quality check, period. Yeah, flipping your canvas just makes you aware of the stuff that you do. First art fives last year, I only drew one piece because I treated like a commission, which took a while to finish. Yeah, I see. Yeah, no, I can't do art fight because like art fight is especially for people who need to like have an excuse to draw daily or like need an excuse to like draw with like incentive. I don't need that. Art is my job. So I'm like, I am drawing almost daily already, if not daily, and I'm like, I cannot do this. This is too much. Art is literally every job that I have right now, so I'm like on top of like this, like wing canvas, that is my job. And then I am a cleanup artist for a fashion company. Like I'm an art assistant for a fashion company, and then I also take commissions, which just reopened as well. So I am like literally everything that I do is art. Hi, Quinn! How are you feeling? In terms of stomach, how many heads should that be? I know chest is 1, but stomach is a half, and pelvis 1. So I drop it, it still looks weird. What a way to measure the body. Usually, when you talk about it, it's like the body is about around 7 heads tall. Like, both male and female. It's around 7 heads tall. And then the halfway point is where your hips are. Fascinating. Push to paint, go to class, on my home. Alright. Stay safe. Get home safe. Usually the chest is 2 heads in volume if it's a dude, and then 1.5 to 2 if it's a woman. The stomach, you could probably say it's like 1 or 2 heads. If I had to guess. A lot of working. How are you doing though, Chess? You doing well? I'm doing like fine. Like, I'm just tired. Like, that's pretty much it. Like, I'm exhausted. Like, today is a really sleepy day. Yesterday was extra sleepy. Bro, I couldn't even force myself to work yesterday. I was sleepy yesterday. It was rough. Yeah, I remember going to the doctor the first time, like, my back messed up, like, a few years back, and, like, I told him, I was talking to, he was asking, like, what I do for work and stuff like that, we were waiting on results and whatever, and he asked me, like, what do you do, like, for your job, and I'm like, yeah, I'm like, and he needed to, like, see my ID, right, for, like, medicine purposes and whatever. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm like an instructor, and like I also stream, and like I blah blah blah, right? Tell him all my job titles at the time. And he looks at my ID and he goes, at the time, he goes like, you're 21. I'm like, yeah. And he goes, and you do all that? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, you have the responsibility list of a 30-year-old at 21. And I'm like, oh. I guess I didn't think about it that way. This is Honey, by the way. This is Moya. This is the monk that plays in Korn's party. This is not what her legs look like. I just decided to give her funky legs because we're doing Cyborg today. He's not wrong. Yeah, no, he was a really nice guy, and he gave me the strongest ibuprofen I've ever had in my life. And it was good medicine. And he just gave me instructions on how to, like, you know, take care of my body and whatnot. But no, it was funny. It's like I came back and I told my best friend that, and they were like, we've been telling you this for ages. And I'm like, yeah, but I guess it sounds different when it comes from like a medical professional. You know. I'm just matured faster, I guess so. Advice to break the habit of copying other artists. Don't know how to bring up my own style. I draw daily but don't seem to get better. You need to be able to practice properly as well. Just practice doesn't really work. You have to practice with intention. Not copying other people, just don't use reference that is other artwork. Easy as that. Like, if you are using reference that is artwork, don't do that. Use photos. That's probably going to be your best bet. And, like, you need to be able to practice with intention. Every day, if you're going to be like, okay, I want to practice, I want to get better. Don't go in being like, okay, today I'm just going to draw, right? And you can totally do that. You can have days like that. Like, that's also totally fine. Where it's like some days you're just like, I just want to draw for the sake of drawing. And those are also fun days, because then that's also a day where you're like, okay, I'm not really trying to improve. I'm just trying to have fun. And that's also a good way of practicing realistically. But if you are trying to practice with, like, intention, and you're like, okay, I really need to get better today, then go in with a goal. Be like, okay, I really want to get better at hands. So you draw, like, a bunch of hands. Go in, get photos of hands, look at your own hands, draw them over and over. Understand what it is that you're looking at. Don't just draw them. Look at them and be like, okay, I understand that each finger has 3 knuckles. I understand that the fat of a finger is on the underside and the bone is up on top, so the upper side is going to have more of this sort of shape while the underside has more of that because of the fat content that's on the bottom. I understand that my fingernail wraps around this form that is my finger. It is more tube-like, so it is not just a flat plane, it wraps around the finger as well. You're not only drawing with intention, but you are observing what it is that you are illustrating. You are observing what it is that you are looking at, and understanding and looking at it intelligently rather than just copying, right? Copying is not how you learn. Observing is how you learn. So you need to look at the thing and observe it intelligently and notice patterns, notice things that are repeating, notice the anatomy of what it is that you are attempting to illustrate. And then in turn, that will add to your visual library. And that is how you get better, is that your visual library will become stronger. Which a visual library, if you don't know, is a thing that stores your information for illustration. It is the thing that stores information that makes you a better illustrator and designer and whatever. And it is the memorized information that will eventually lead to you getting stronger with your fundamentals, right? Visual library doesn't only include stuff about anatomy and whatever, it could also just include visual information that you want to use later. Again, I'm going to bring up the snow concept again. I understood that no two snowflakes look the same. I also remembered that DNA tends to look very, very unique from one another, right? So those are things that are in my visual library that I recognize, and I can use those visual motifs to create a better design, right? Things like that, right? So building up your visual library is really, really important as an illustrator. So that means that you need to practice with intent, yeah? There you go. Only use other artists for style studies or mimicry, and combine the elements from a bunch of artists into a style until forget all this stuff again. I like to use other artists as, like, inspiration for me to continue drawing. Joe, thank you for the $10 dono. Appreciate you. $10 super chat. As it is on YouTube. Appreciate you. Thank you. Best way to learn anatomy is take an anatomy class like in high school. You don't have to understand what the body is supposed to look like much better than any art tutorial taught me. Anatomy is in high school. Some schools just don't have anatomy classes, though. Like, that is, like... And some people are also older than high school. So, you know, they're not really an option anymore. I learned a good chunk of the scientific anatomy that I know from a university class, right? And it's... like, so that's post-secondary. But, like, the actual drawn anatomy, I learned all of that from observation, like, pure observation. And it's just kind of me understanding what it is that I'm looking at, where things go, how things move, right? And it improved, like, tenfold when I went and learned it scientifically, but, you know, not impossible to learn without the scientific knowledge as well. Yeah, YouTube exists, fellas. Free knowledge is out there. Super true. Like, you can... Everybody also has a different way, a different style of learning. Like, not everybody is going to thrive in a classroom. Not everybody is going to thrive off of a YouTube video. Like, people are always shocked when they hear me say this. I don't really watch art YouTubers. I actually don't. I didn't grow up on them. I didn't grow up with, like, art tutorials and things like that being my bread and butter. I was the type of person who observed just straight through, like, reading comics and, like, looking at other people's artwork and, like, using them as the goal that I wanted to reach. And then it was, like, I just got advice and I practiced and that was it. Like, that was how I learned how to draw. And on top of that as well, I apparently also have the advantage of having something called hyperphantasia, which is the opposite of aphantasia. For those who don't know what aphantasia is, it is the inability to visualize things in your head. Like, it's being unable to, like, picture things. I apparently have the opposite of that. I visualize to a degree that is so vivid, it could practically be a movie. Audio and all. It's like I have a very, very strong mind's eye, which, like, helps a lot, like, creatively. But, you know, it's like some people have the opposite of that, where it's like that visualization just doesn't work, in which then they have to study, like, twice as hard. But, like, yeah, aphantasia is, like, a thing that some people just have, and I'm like, dang, that I can't even... That's something I can't picture, having aphantasia. Like, because I'm just the pure opposite of that. And it's like... Yeah, hyperphantasia. Which is apparently the thing that I have. So... It's a good time. Alright, cool. Legs. I might just do, like, grayscale shading for those ones. I'm not really feeling doing full color right now. Just not, I do not have the energy. So I might just do a little bit of extra shading and call it a day. Because I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Just a little bit of shadow. Just to pump things up a little bit. A little bit of shadow, a little bit of lighting. I have a freckle brush. What am I doing? Weather here is warm, sunny, and too windy. Maybe I'll draw something. It's not warm here. It is sunny though. It's nice and chilly over here. I like the cold. True north, strong and free. I like me that Canadian cold. Make this brush bigger. Cold is my jam. Yeah, I like the cold. A little bit of shading really does make the forms poppy. Yeah, man. Shading really does help a lot with a lot of things. It's a good time. I might redo her freckles on another layer then. Just make it a little bit darker. Okay. Oh, the drawing, thank you. Sorry if I'm not reading super vigilantly right now. I'm trying to shade this. Yeah, this is my second time drawing something metallic today. My class, we drew robots. Robits. It's the last class of the, what do you call it? Of the winter term, so spring term is in a couple weeks. Oh, Faye's here? Hi, Faye! Editorial lab drawing that you missed. Dang, I get to work in Photoshop while y'all had to work with Magma. My challenge? Yeah, go for it. Draw that Star Wars machine. Shading and lighting seem so hard. They seem hard, but over time you kind of get used to it and it just becomes fun. It's an intimidating look, but like, you kind of see how fast I'm doing it, you know? You get used to it and it's like, over time the like lighting and shadows, they all kind of like make sense. And you sort of can like auto fill in where they're supposed to go. It's like, oh yeah, the light isn't going to be hitting here, or the form looks like this, so I've got to put in the shadow here, kind of thing. This design though, thank you. This is one of those things. I'm like, I like drawing mechs. I like drawing robots. I never offer it as a commission. Because I'm like, I don't trust myself, personally. Like, you saw how I was struggling in the beginning. I'm like, I was not thriving. Did not spark joy. Eventually we got there, though. You can see that I enjoy drawing it. I just struggle with it really hard. Mechs are not my forte, but I enjoy them though. Yeah, lighting is super fun. So just a little bit of extra highlighting here. Just to give us a better idea. All this, you know, check that out. And just like a small line, that does so much for like the lighting here. Just a little bit of highlighting can really add to something. You know? Feel that. You can feel that weight. Yeah. That's nice. It's my favorite thing to draw. I don't know if I have a favorite thing. I have a lot of things that I like to draw, though. I like dragons. I like drawing trees. I really like backgrounds. I like people. I love drawing people. Love characters. I actually love really drawing cats. I've learned I really like drawing cats. I get super excited every time I get to draw, like, new body types. Those are pretty cool. Where's a freckle brush? Yeah. Sorry, don't mind me. I'm doing this all on one layer, so I gotta redo it. Gotta redo some things. Nature backgrounds, little guys, water, trees, and plants. That's real. People, ball gowns, any dress, skirt, frilly brows, poofy sleeves. Oh, I love fashion. I love drawing fashion, too. Any clothes, realistically. Because I love drawing clothing folds. A lot of fun. I'm just emphasizing the freckles a little bit more with a different brush. Yeah. Cool. There we go. That's fun. Cool. I like that. Ugh. Cats or dogs? I am more of a cat person, I'll be honest. That was fun. I like that. Yeah, you can see how much that lighting adds. Just a little bit of grayscale bumps it up. Piece of advice that I got a while ago, or a piece of advice that I saw once, was like, each stage of your artwork should look like a finished piece. Like, each stage you should look like you should be able to stop, but you don't. And I kind of took that to heart. I was like, you know what, you're right. That is how it should look. And it's true. It really does, like, add up an extra step. Like, every time that you add on more to a piece, it should look optional, in a way. Just adding a bit of a core shadow. That kind of makes this look even more shiny. Make it look really metallic, you know? Pretty cool. Like, you can compare this to the other robot that I drew today. You know? It's pretty funny. The same artist type beat. You know what I mean? That's so silly. I love doing that. Showing, like, I have a pretty wide range. So it's like, I love the difference. It's like, this versus this. It's so silly. He's such a little dude, yeah. Kind of looks Ghibli. Yeah, I get that. Oh, that looks a lot better. Just that little edge there. It's pretty cool. Epic. Yeah, and luckily for me, I don't really need to... I don't really need to color any of the lines. Because this is already, like, black and white. It doesn't really need any line coloring. Which, again, great for me. Yeah, it's pretty sweet. Cool. Ugh. My characters in a lineup are unique because they're all different races. Yeah, my characters, my D&D characters as well, are all super different looking. Because I like to play different class and different species every time. I don't have, like, a main, quote-unquote. So I'm like, I like to cycle through my illustration. Like, or what characters I play. So I'm like right now I'm Dragonborn Barbarian, Warforged Bard, and then I'm gonna be switching to Tiefling Cleric soon as well. So that'll be fun. Neat! Yeah, I'll call that one done. Sure, I'll call it there. Alright, friends. Thank you all so much for joining me today. Appreciate you popping in. Appreciate you hanging out. You know, if it's your first time here, hey, wingcanvas.com. Come check out the classes we offer. We just finished our winter term. Come say hi to us for spring. My digital art and my mentorship classes both have spots open. So if you've ever wanted a class with me, go check those out, wingcanvas.com. This file that you see in front of you will be available as a JPEG on our Discord for you to take. So if you pop over, join our Discord, you'll be able to, you know, take a look at some of the other past instructor demos as well. And download the JPEG, but if you'd like the working files, you're going to have to join our Patreon or on School. Or no, it's not School. School doesn't give our working files, I don't think. School is for class recordings, but working files, I believe, will be available on Patreon. Become a Patreon member, YouTube member, get critique from instructors, get some feedback from us in the hidden channels on our Discord. But yes, on Monday, you guys, I believe, have Josh. I could be super wrong. Let me check. Monday. Yes, Monday you guys have Josh. You will be with Josh. He will be designing as many shoes as he can in 2 hours. And the stream after that... Oh, hang on. Yeah, Monday you guys will have Josh, and then on the Saturday, you guys will have both me and Iggy. Both of us will be drawing our favorite Pokemon together on stream. So you'll have both of us next week, Saturday. So pop in, come say hi as we go and draw our Pokemon together. But yeah, thank you all so much for joining me today, and I'll see y'all next week. Au revoir. Bye-bye.